Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 2 days. For the 28th and 29th of January, and this includes the latest Frontline Changes report as per the moment of recording, which is the 30th of January. So we're going to start off with Velyka. So over in Siversk front, something major have happened. Russian forces has been geolocated right inside of Velyka, which means that the Russian forces have captured the entire eastern part of Velyka. And this also means that the entire salient or the bulge or the pocket that the Ukrainians claim that they have control of should be all under Russian control. So this is a massive frontline change in this area here. The total distance traveled is probably between 2.3 to all the way to 3.5 kilometers. So this total area captured is 8.9 square kilometers. Very, very big area captured. But of course, this is just mind mapping. This may not be reality. Maybe the reality is just someone just went on a suicide charge and they die. So that could also be possible. So that's all from the Velyka. So this is the clearing of residential area by assault group, which they have landed, and then yeah. So let's see whether the Ukrainians actually defend Velyka at all. So next frontline change, we jump to the Bakhmut front. Over at Chasivya, we have similar situation where massive chunk of land is taken by the Russian forces. This area here in the southeast of Chasivya is actually mapped by the Ukrainian mapping, and then we have a geolocation which is just north of Stupochki, which also marks the Russian advance. So the area, the distance traveled in the north one is around 1.2 kilometers. The one in the south is around 700 to 900 meters. So so the Russian forces making some advance in Chasivya, and it's important to note that it is possible to now do a very uncomfortable, very awkward pincer, which I don't think is a much of a pincer, but no, yeah. So that's just what it is. So a lot of very weird protrusions all over the place. Yeah, it's a very, very awkward area here. So after after the Bakhmut front, the next front line change, we jump all the way to the Bakhmut front. Over the northern flank, we have the Russian forces advancing northwest of Andriivka towards Velyka. So I've reported this actually, I think maybe 2 times already in the conclusion and the sit rep. So yeah, so I'm not going to repeat why it's going to be the case, but the distance traveled is around 1.3 kilometers. So and then the next frontline change after Baranivka is at Pischani. So at Pischani, the Russian forces have captured some grounds east of Pischani. So this is just another continuation of the Russian advance moving in the direction of Vuhledar. So that's all. So we move on. So just checking, make sure that we are actually recording. I don't want to waste my time. So after Pischani, the next is at Novosilka with Russian forces capturing this tree line here. There's one tree line here taken by the Russian forces, which means the Russians have advanced in the south of Novosilka as they continue on. And and they have basically now a more stronger position to allow them to go for Andriivka. So yeah, I forgot to turn off the black box. I just noticed. Yeah, and then over at the Avdiivka region, Russian forces has been geolocated. This is one of the latest geolocation in the southern part of Avdiivka, which means the Russians have captured more than half of Avdiivka. And this comes at the same time where the Ukrainian mapping have mapped that the Russian forces have taken a lot of grounds in the southeast of Avdiivka. So yeah, so they do this. Yeah, they do this. Maybe this. Yeah, they do this. They create a hand with the thumb out. So that's all from Avdiivka. And over at Andriivka, we have a peculiar situation where the Russian forces has been geolocated in the south, where I map it as an advance coming from the south. However, the Ukrainians actually map it coming from the north, which as a result, in combination, we have an encirclement of Ukrainian forces in Novoandriivka. So it's unclear who is correct. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they are right, maybe they are wrong. So yeah, so it is what it is. This is the mapping. So so that's what it is. The from the Ukrainian side, the perspective is the Russians advance 1.7 kilometers, while I take a more conservative route, which is coming from the south, which is around 800 meters. So that's all from Novoandriivka. The next frontline change is that Slovianka, with Russian forces are advancing down these two gullies, and they ended up along the road, capturing all of these grounds around here, closing out this Ukrainian pocket that is was previously created because of the advancement for around the two gullies. So that's all from Slovianka. And we go into the Andriivka front. At Andriivka itself, Russian forces have advanced within Andriivka, capturing some grounds around here as they try to probably reach the Orlova River and then shut out this entire pocket around here as they continue to advance down Andriivka. So while this is going on, geolocation is showing the Russians are trying to challenge this fortification that is protecting the eastern part of Andriivka. So over in the Dashny region, Russian forces captured half of Dashny with the entire eastern outskirts and the eastern edge taken, and the southeastern edge taken, confirmed by geolocation. This one is by Ukrainian mapping. So Ukrainian forces basically have lost around coming to half, maybe. Yeah, because there's also some advance in the north that the Russians have taken. So yeah, they not yet half, but almost half of Dashny is now under Russian control. I think we might see the fall of Dashny within the next few days. After Dashny in the south, or Yantarny, there's this salient, not salient, gully around here. The Russian forces have taken the southern half of the gully with advancement in the north of Sukiali and north of Yantarny. So this is a continuation of the Russian squeeze of the Ulakli Bulge or Ulakli pocket that the Ukrainians have refused to withdraw from. So that's going to be the next drama, the next Velyka Novosilka. Then over at the south of Rozliv, we have a massive frontline change mapped by the Ukrainian mapping. They acknowledge that the Russian forces have taken all of these grounds and they invalidated some of the claims. So the Russian forces have made some huge advance across the fields as they slowly make their way towards Rozliv in the north. So if you zoom out, you can see that this is Rozliv, and Russian forces that advanced greatly around in the south of this region as they continue to push north towards Rozliv. The total distance traveled is probably around 1.5 kilometers. And this is a pretty big front line, around 5 kilometers long. So we'll continue to monitor the situation as the Russians continue to move on and on and on without stopping. Over at Velyka Novosilka, we have the confirmation from Ukrainian mapping of the Russian forces' full capture of Velyka Novosilka on their 28th report, 28th February report, January report. So that's all. So these are all the frontline changes. And so looking at the total area captured, the Ukrainians captured 0. They didn't capture anything. Yeah. So which is this is too big. Okay. So and if we look at the Russians one, there is only 5 different front lines that was having frontline changes, and the biggest one is at Andriivka, because of this massive collapse in various places in the Ulakli pocket, as well as over in the south of Rozliv. And then Siversk itself, as well as Bakhmut. Siversk, that one frontline change at Siversk is that big, is as big as the entire combination of all the frontline changes in Bakhmut. So, but of course, that will be pretty shaky. So we hopefully we're gonna have more information and confirmation of Russian presence in Velyka to confirm our frontline change even further. So anyway, so let's count 8.91. Wrong. 8.91 plus 2.52 plus 8.94 plus 10.97 plus 0.3. So total distance travel, total area captured by the Russian forces is 31.64 square kilometers, 31.64 square kilometers, and this means that around 15 kilometers, 15 square kilometers per day. Yeah, this is pretty much on the higher side of the recent trend of Russian captures. So let's see how this continue to play out. 15 square kilometers is pretty much around there. So thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe, and happy Lunar New Year. We are coming to the third day of the Lunar New Year, which is around 15 day of festivity. It is also known as a Spring Festival because it marks the beginning of spring on the Chinese calendar. And people was also asking me, is it Chinese New Year or is it Lunar New Year? So actually, in locally, or we just say Happy Chinese New Year usually, because we are Chinese, we celebrate it. But the reality is that the New Year is not only celebrated by the Chinese, I believe they're celebrated by the Koreans and the Vietnamese. But not the Japanese. The Japanese decided to go with the Western calendar. That's why it's Chinese New Year, because mainly Chinese people are the one that is the mass majority of the population that celebrates it. But it's Lunar New Year because the Chinese calendar is actually a lunar calendar. So what is a lunar calendar? Which means that every month marks the completion of a cycle of the moon's oscillation. Is that even a word? Yeah, a rotation around Earth. So every 15th of the month on the Chinese calendar is always a full moon. Always a full moon. So the 15th is always a full moon. So you can imagine every month is a very consistent cycle. So the year is always very consistent because it's based on the lunar cycles, which is why it's called a lunar calendar. Yeah, it is what it is. So which is why based on the lunar calendar, that's why it's the Lunar New Year. Yeah, because it marks 12 months of the 12 times the moon have rotated around the Earth. Yeah. So now you can explain to me why the Gregorian calendar, the Western calendar, is actually a better calendar. Tell me. It makes no sense. So anyway, thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.